I'm wanted. Everybody say, I'm wanted. I want to close with this story. And I'm just going to kind of read it to you as plain and vanilla as I can so that I'm not affected by it because I won't be able to get through it. But shortly after the Korean War, a Korean woman had an affair with an American soldier and she got pregnant. And he went back to the United States and she never saw him again. She gave birth to a little girl. The little girl looked different from all the other Korean children. She had light-colored curly hair. And in that culture, children of mixed race were ostracized at the time by the community. In fact, many women would kill their children because they didn't want them to have to face such rejection. But this woman didn't do that. She tried to raise her little girl the best she could. For 7 years, she tried to do that until the rejection was just too much. She did something that probably nobody in this room could ever imagine doing. She abandoned her little girl to the streets. The little girl was ruthlessly taunted by people. They called her the ugliest word in the Korean language, tukai, which means alien devil. And it didn't take long for this little girl to draw conclusions about herself based on the way people treated her. For 2 years, she lived on the streets until finally she made her way to an orphanage. One day, word came that a couple from America was going to come and adopt a little boy in that orphanage. All the children in the orphanage got excited because at least one little boy was going to have hope and have a family. So this little girl spent the day cleaning up the little boys, giving them baths and combing their hair and wondering which one would be adopted by the American couple. The next day, the couple came and they showed up, and this is what the girl recalled in her own words. It was like Goliath had come back to life. I saw this huge man with his huge hands lift up every baby, and I knew he loved every one of them as if they were his own. She said, I saw tears running down this man's face, and I knew if they could, they would have taken all the children home with them. Then he saw me, she said, out of the corner of his eye. Now let me tell you, I was 9 years old, but I didn't even weigh 30 pounds. I was scrawny. I had worms in my body. I had lice in my hair. I had boils all over me. I was full of scars. I was not a pretty sight. But the man came over to me and began rattling something in English, and I looked up at him. Then he took this huge hand and he laid it on my face. What was he saying? He was saying, I want this child. This child is for me. I want this child. This child is for me. I want this child. This child is for me. And if you can put yourself in the place of that little girl for a moment, with all our worms and all of our lice and all of our scrawniness or all of our bad attitudes and all of our rejections that we've been facing for all of our life. And our Heavenly Father comes to this earth in the form of Jesus. And what does he do? Wherever he goes, he lays hands on people. And what is he doing? He's laying his hand on each of our faces, and he's saying, I want this child. This child is for me. I want this child. This child is for me. I want this child. This child is for me. Well, guess what? You are that child. And God is your Father. And he doesn't just love you, but oh, how he loves you. And he doesn't just call you, but oh, how he's called you. And he hasn't just chosen you, but oh, how he's chosen you. And he hasn't just destined you, but oh, how he's destined you. But he wants you. He wants you. He wants you. If you want to embrace God's acceptance and uproot the spirit of rejection, I want you to stand where you are. That should be all of us. Let's stand together, and I want to pray for you.